to think about something else, and the safety car, the pace car as it is now, sets off, and the green flag is waved, so the car's released behind. And you know the format, a warming up lap, they'll jink around to generate a bit of temperature into the tyres, and as they do so, there is that club class battle that will shape up from the back of the grid. Well, let's put you on the spot here. Predictions for a winner?
Predictions for a winner. I'm going to go for, in the second class, John O'Brown.
Right.
I'm going to be brave, even though he's starting on the back.
No, I think that's a good go, yep.
And because I'm going to give him some support, Chris Paniotto, I think he's got the bit between his teeth, he's going to be fairly aggressive, or his teammate, Mr. Allen.
Okay, I think it's a pretty hard one to call this because it's a very competitive category. I'm tempted to go for Lee Allen because he ran well early on in the earlier race, but it could be a Martin Depper victory, it could be a Lee Pattison victory. Chris Smiley drove well in the first race, so maybe that's covered most bases. Chris Knox, one to look for from the fourth row of the grid. Stuart Lyons, who we didn't see much of in race one. He's another quick driver. Stuart, who used to take part in sidecar motocross and switched to car racing a few years ago, has raced in these. He's raced in the Clio Cup. He also races this year in the Volkswagen Racing Cup. So he's another experienced driver. Martin Depper, I suppose, after the lessons learned from, admittedly not a great season in the BTCC, I think his best finish was 12th in the forced to run BMWs. He, of course, is now a better driver after his season at that level, so he could be the man to beat, especially starting from pole.
And when you see the drivers warming up their tyres there, they're not just warming up the fronts, they're also accelerating, which is then generating heat into the rear tyres as that creates more momentum. So as the car's driving along, they're accelerating, weaving left, weaving right, and then that gets the suspension to load up and then heat up the rear tyres as well, because with a front-wheel drive car, it's pointless heating up the front tyres, because as you turn to the corner, the back just swings round on you and catches you very unawares and could cause big accidents for the pack that's chasing in.
So, safety car out of Bobby's as we look forward to race 2 for the mini challenge. So down they come, and rolling start, which means they don't stop on the grid. The pace car will peel into the pit lane, and the Pirelli Shod Minis get themselves in the Noah's Ark 2x2 formation. And if the starter is happy, then the signal will be given to get 17 minutes of racing underway for the mini challenge. The black car of Martin Depper on pole position, the blue car alongside is that of Lee Pattison, and we are just about ready to go racing. It's not the tidiest of starts, but they're away now, and Martin Depper leads, but they're 3 wide there because Lee Allen goes for the gap in the middle. Is he going to get the race lead? He's ahead of Lee Pattison, but he goes a little bit wide. Sam Osborne tries to come up the inside as well. The club class battle, the slower cars get away now also. They're having their own squabble at the rear of the grid. And who's it going to be that leads? It is Lee Allen, who goes all sideways going into Quarry. The tyres squeal in protest. Martin Depper tries to nip up the inside of him. Depper looks across, grabs a gear. Does he lead? Yes, he does. Lee Allen then down to second place with his now square tyres after a big slide there.
And that's exactly what I was saying. First lap problem with a front-wheel drive car and a one-make championship. If you don't warm those rear tyres up enough, it goes sideways, but brilliantly held, and he hasn't lost too much. I think he'll still be able to give Depper a run for his money in the next couple of corners.
Here it comes, here's the first run, and Martin Depper is able to hang on, but he's not being able to get away, is he? He's having to defend here. He's not being able to drive his own lap, really. Out of tail they come. Chris Paniotto trying to make ground up. Stuart Lyons runs behind him as they wriggle their way now through Bobby. So, Martin Depper, it is in the lead in the Coastal Racing Run car. Slotting in behind him is Lee Allen, who led for a corner there is Chris Smith. Now, how's Shane Stoney getting on, of course, having won the earlier race? He is down in about 7th, I would suggest it is. 7th or 8th coming to the end of that one. Martin Depper in the lead. Lee Allen trying to go around the outside of him. Sam Osborne having another good run in 3rd in the black and green car. In 4th place is Chris Smiley as they come over the line. Lee Pattison 5th in the paler blue car there at the back of that shot. And then 6th is Chris Smith, the best of the rest. Look at this, Lee Allen right alongside Depper as they power now up towards Quarry. You're on board with Martin Depper. Clear road ahead of him, but it's very busy behind.
And he's made it stick as well, so I was expecting to see Lee Allen on the outside there, but no, didn't happen. But Depper's making his car extremely wide. That black car with the yellow lights and the wing mirrors making that car extremely wide. And you can see there Allen sideways on the exit of the first chicane called the S's. He really is wanting desperately to take the lead.
because, though, Martin Depper is making it wide and he's not getting away, he's holding everybody up, and there's this one long line of cars behind him as again Lee Allen tries one side, and then he tries the other, and everywhere he goes, there is a Martin Depper in the way. Chris Smiley third now. What's happened to Sam Osborne? He's dropped back to fifth, and that going to the inside in the blue car is Lee Pattison. I reckon there's a nudge there. They funnel their way into the chicane at Bobby's. Lee Pattison was delayed out of all of that. It was him trying to make the move, and he's lost out to Sam Osborne.
Yeah, and because of that, now that's let the pack basically go ahead. So they've got the first two leaders left, everybody for dead now, just because of that over-enthusiastic move at Bobby's chicane. But because the pack is being kept so together, there's definitely going to be a bit of bumping and boring. We're going to see a few little knocks in this race. I can see it coming already.
How long is it going to take then before third place Chris Smiley gets back up with the Lee Allen, Martin Depper battle for the race lead? I reckon he's going to be able to do this. He's taking Lee Pattison with him. There is Martin Depper, who leads the way. Wonderful stuff, this. There is Smiley third as they turn their way out of Quarry. It's almost everybody, I think, in the JCW class here for the faster cars running in a long line. The lead of the club cars currently is going the way of Henry Gilbert, just ahead of Simon Hillary and John O'Brown. The leaders come out now from the S's up towards Old Paddock. It's Stuart Lyons there making a move against Chris Smith. Smith in the orange and black car 10. Stuart Lyons round the outside of him. That was a good move. And it's just about work for him as Martin Depper somehow hangs on to the race lead. This is a very wide car, but it's well driven.
Yeah, but because he's actually still holding the rest of the pack up, you can see that Allen is so much quicker. Even though Depper has actually done the fastest lap early on, Allen's just got the momentum, seems everywhere, and then Depper, his tyres will start to go off quicker than some of the others. So some of the 4th, 5th, 6th guys that we're seeing here in the main pack could start to have a late charge as these guys are overheating the tyres too early on.
Car 1 is being given a 5-second penalty. You can just see Chris Knox going through camp. That's come up on the timing screen. Why he's been given a 5-second penalty, we are not yet being told. Trying to get to the bottom of that. But either way, Chris Knox there, running at the moment 5th on the road, plus a penalty, is going to drop back. He's being given a driving standards flag, so that, I think, is why he's being given the penalty, because he transgressed quite often in race 1.
Yes, that's exactly right. And you can see that he looked quite aggressive there when the camera moved in on his car earlier. He gave us the big thumbs up, and you could see his eye. He was really properly fired up. So an aggressive driver with Mr. Knox there, and it's being the penalties now he's having to pay for it. 5-second penalty for car 1 that we're looking at now.
And of course, if they all stay in one big group, that's going to cost him more than if gaps open up. So Martin Depper leading, Lee Allen is second, and look, the gap second to third has disappeared. Chris Smiley is right back there, and so is Lee Pattison, and so is Knox, and so is Osborne, and so is Stoney. So it's 7 for the lead now, and Martin Depper somehow hangs on to the advantage as he comes through Bobby's. The man from Earlswood, 43 years of age, is Martin Depper, company director, and he's driving very, very well here to keep everybody else at bay. But Lee Allen tries the outside of the blue car, look down towards camp, but Martin Depper still has the line going into the corner, and still Lee Allen can't find a way by, and now he's under pressure from Chris Smiley. What a wonderful race. Over the line they go. Depper leads by 0.2 of a second. The leading 5 are covered by 0.8. And we've got 11.5 minutes to go. Who's the next mover going to be? Lee Pattison in 4th place in his blue car, trying to make a move coming up now towards Quarry. Martin Depper is still ahead. Lee Allen millimetres away from the back of him, but the good thing is there's no contact.
Not that we encourage contact sports here, but Allen is being extremely patient, and Depper's doing a fantastic job. We're not putting the leader down at all, but he is making that car extremely wide. Look at that as the cars bounce around over the chicane curbs as they come out the flat-out section down to hammer down as they approach then the tricky tower corner. Great racing, separated by nothing.
Lee Allen on the outside goes for the lead. Is he going to work for him? Is his best chance? Yeah, Martin Depper with the inside line. He's going to come out ahead, I think. And now Lee Allen's on the wrong line for the next corner. He's just hung on to second. There was a little bit of a nudge there. Chris Smiley on the inside trying to go through. Wonderful stuff, and it is still Martin Depper in the lead. This is lap 5, just in case you were wondering, and somehow he has managed to hang on in there. There's more bumping in the background. Lee Allen looks to the outside, no way by there. So Martin Depper it is up front. They come across the line absolutely tied together, nose to tail. Now there's contact, bits go flying. 1/10 of a second is all there is between them now. Chris Smiley going to the outside line also there as they turn their way up through Folly. There's no change in the order, amazingly enough, and now those 3 just trying to edge away from Lee Pattison, who is in 4th position.
So on board with Depper now as you come over Avon Rise into Quarry Corner. There's going to be some contact with these guys very, very soon. And Depper's, again, sitting in the middle of the road. No one can go through. He's being very, very clever at this as they go into the S's, which is a fast right, then jinks left, and you can see the suspension working overtime of these cars as they bounce over the curbs. And now an absolutely flat-out section, and you can see a bit of smoke coming from 22 car Smiley.
I reckon he's got bodywork fouling against a tyre, hasn't he? Because with the little bit of nudging we saw earlier, I think bodywork has just been folded against the rubber, and that, yep, you can see it, that does not bode well for the latter stages of the race as they come now almost side by side for the lead into Bobby's. And great news for the leader, there are back markers up the road, like you haven't got enough to worry about. Now he's got traffic. Can Chris Smiley go to the end with that problem? He comes now down towards Camp. Is he going to bail for the pit lane? Nah, let's carry on. Lee Allen right round the outside. Yes, great move. He's done it at last. Moves across, takes the line, covers it coming out of the corner. And so Lee Allen with a really, really brave move round the outside takes the lead. And the Allen clan delighted about that. Now, can he pull away? He's not out of the woods yet. Martin Depper right on his tail. Top two, run as one, heading up towards Quarry. What a race. This is lap 7. 8.5 minutes to go. You're riding with Martin Depper. They're in and amongst the back markers. Lee Allen, even though he's hit the front, is not getting away, is he? We thought that he might be the quicker of the two, and when he did get the lead, might pull clear. Is that going to happen now on the run out of Old Paddock towards Hammerdown? Probably it might just do.
Yeah, definitely so. And that car of Smiley, no way is that going to end the race. We've got 8 minutes left of the race. That tyre is going to be pretty shot. He's going to have to watch out that it's not going to have a blowout and then force him onto the scenery and damage the car even more. And the smell into the commentary box around the whole of Castle Combe stinks of burning rubber, literally, from that car that's been slightly damaged.
He's also being given the meatball flag, the mechanical warning flag this time around. Chris Paniuto, I'm afraid, is just retiring into the pit lane, and the marshals on the pit wall are ready with that mechanical warning flag from Chris Smiley, but the smoke has now stopped. There's no problem this lap through, so as he comes down towards Camp, problem, what problem? So the leader goes by. Lee Allen now is ahead of Martin Depper by 0.7 of a second, and this is Henry Gilbert, who came to Castle Combe as the overall championship leader. Smiley has just been off the road at Camp, incidentally, despite the fact that he no longer has the smoke pouring off his car, but Henry Gilbert leading his class a long way ahead of John O'Brien this time.
Maybe he went wide at Camp on purpose to get rid of that bit of bodywork that was rubbing and fouling the tyre. Problem solved. So no smoke coming from that car. And as we got John O'Brien there, remember, trained by Paul O'Neill, doing a fantastic job from the back of the grid there in that 79 car. Bless him, can't even drive home, but has had the privilege to drive around the circuit today.
And there going off is the man that won the first race. Look, because that is Shane Stoney, who's bounced off the road, and the tyre has gone down. So that's what we were fearing. I think that's why he was off the road. It put him there. So Chris Smiley will be heading for the pit lane because he's got a flat front tyre. Bodywork has rubbed against it, and eventually it's worn away the rubber. So disappointing that, because he was running strongly early on. Martin Depper, though, I reckon is coming back at the leader look. Lee Allen in the blue and yellow car leads the way, the Trucker Line sponsored car. But Martin Depper has certainly not given up. Lee Patterson now is third. Sam Osborne behind him is in fourth. And Shane Stoney, of course, after that grassy moment we saw, drops a long way back. Chris Smith now there, look, in the orange and black car, goes up into fifth place. 6.5 minutes to run. Leaders go by. Lee Patterson has just done the fastest lap of the race, and he runs in third place at the moment. This race is far from over.
Yeah, he has done the fastest lap of the race. He did that on lap 8. And he's just gone slightly quicker again, yeah, so he is on a bit of a mission. So let's keep an eye out for the third place man, car number 5, Patterson.
As there is Stoney coming back, Chris Knox, who goes through. So Shane Stoney takes back 6th place. And remember, there's this penalty to apply to Chris as well. So he's got to be 5 seconds clear of a chasing car. If he's not, then consequently he will lose places as that 5 seconds is added on to his ultimate race time. So Sam Osborne in the green and black car being pursued by number 10 there, Chris Smith.
As you can see, Smiley coming in there with a front blowout, as I mentioned. You know, the loads of smoke that's pouring off that. He's either going to get it changed and then go out and use this next half of the race for a bit of fun and a bit of track time, or he's just going to park it.
So it takes quite a long time to change tyres during the race. There's 5.5 minutes to go, so he may lose too many laps. It looks like he's heading to the paddock in retirement, in actual fact, as Lee Allen leads Martin Depper. There, Henry Gilbert, 12th overall, leading the club class, and he's going to be lapped before the end, I fear, as the top two just go over the line now with the gap down. Again, Martin Depper is still pushing hard, but Henry Gilbert, the former motocrosser, teenager, and really does a very, very good job in these cars. Considering his lack of experience in car racing, he's against people with a lot more experience. Does a very strong job indeed, as does the man behind him, John O'Brown, and it's a shame we've not got the two cars together, unlike in the first race. Now, look behind them, Lee Allen is working his way through traffic, and so too is Martin Depper, but I think Martin was delayed there going through Quarry.
Some really good some camera footage there from our crew. Jonathan Brown, number 79, who we're looking at now. You can see that car dancing around just as they get to turn in on these on this tricky Castle Combe circuit. They're still slightly on the brakes, which then unsettles the car. The back end comes out, and then it points to the front where they want to go to save the front tyres overheating. So the car's constantly twitching around, even though it looks extremely relaxed from an onboard. He really is working that car hard inside on the brakes, the throttle, and the steering.
There he is, making his way there now, with the two race leaders bearing down on him. This is heading from Bobby's down towards camp, and therefore towards the end of the lap. Blue flags waving the slower car. Martin Depper pulls out. There's a look. Lee Allen goes to the inside. Is there room? Yeah, I think there is, but looked a little bit closer than it really was, I think, from that angle. Over the line they go, and the gap between the top two has come down to 0.4 of a second, and now 3 laps in a row, Lee Patterson has done the best lap of the race. Each time quicker, each time he's catching this side-by-side situation for the lead. Martin Depper back in front, and can he take the lead going into the corner? I don't think he can on that line, but he's right back on the tail of Lee Allen, and Lee Patterson is almost up with them. This is a tremendous race.
Yeah, so on board with Depper there, you can see him looking in his mirror because he knows he's taken the lunge on Allen there at Quarry Corner. He's now lost out, and you can see that pale blue car of Patterson getting closer and closer and closer. So now he's under a bit of pressure now. He was comfortable in the lead. Now he's under a lot of pressure. You can see him looking in his mirror. He's starting to think, right, I've got to work for this and get really on it, because otherwise Allen's going to get away and I'm going to get pounced on by Patterson.
Yes, he's in this invidious position of trying to attack and defend at the same time. Down they come into Bobby's. Lee Allen not being able to get away on this lap, so Martin Depper is working as hard as he possibly can to stay on the back of the leading car. 3 minutes are still on the clock. Down they come now towards Camp Corner, and Lee Patterson, who is right there on the tail of Depper, is thinking about which way to go in order to make his move. Stays in the wheel tracks, in fact, on the run down towards Camp, can't find a way through. Over the timing line they come. Lee Allen being urged on there by his team, and all of that urging means that he is still 0.4 of a second ahead. And for the 4th lap in a row, Lee Patterson has done the best lap in the race, and he's right on the tail of Depper, and he makes the run now up towards the right-hander of Quarry. Is that going to work for him? Again, drivers move across, cover that inside line, and make sure there's no way by.
This is brilliant stuff. Anyone's in it, you know, you'd have thought that Allen was pushing so hard in the early race that he would have just passed Depper and gone. And Patterson takes the lead around the outside and then gets on the inside, takes into second, into the S's there. So Depper was under a lot of pressure, and Patterson's still the fastest man on the circuit. Allen next.
Absolutely, the way he's going, he could win this, certainly, because he's got the time left just, and he's certainly got the speed, and he thinks about making a move at Tower. Well, Lee Allen, of course, is a former champion in these cars. You've got to get up pretty early in the morning to beat him. He knows exactly how to drive them. He knows exactly where to position the car in order to prevent you from coming by. And it's working very nicely for him at the moment. Now, can Lee Patterson do another best lap of the race? He makes the run down towards Camp Corner. Now you can hear in the background possibly Lee Allen's team cheering him on, urging him on, and the last lap board is being shown to them this time around. So onto the last lap now. The gap between them is half a second. That time around, Lee Patterson didn't do a new best lap of the race, but he was certainly quicker than Lee Allen. Now he's got the run up towards Quarry.
Yeah, Quarry Corner, a pretty brave corner as they go over the rise now. Avon Rise, it's whoever dares to be the latest on the brakes without going into the scenery. And Allen there's got it completely under control. These cars look really well set up, and as he gets the back end out, as he loses it slightly on the marbles, on the bit of mud on the exit there. So that's going to give Patterson a chance to catch him up as they go through the S's and then head towards Old Paddock and hammer down.
Well, Lee Allen under massive pressure, so is his family, look, who are looking at the screens, they're looking at the track. They found themselves. Now are they going to be able to celebrate a win in half a lap's time? Lee Allen rising to the occasion, but so too is Lee Patterson, look, who's in second place. it was nearly first and a half place because he was almost level going into Tower. That may have been his last opportunity because he's hard to overtake going into Bobbies, as has been proved all day. Then there's the run towards Camp Corner. Lee Patterson has got one more chance. Can he have a go at Camp? Here he comes now. He's right on the back of Lee Allen. The family are there to cheer Lee to the echo, I think, but he positions the car in the middle of the road. He should be able to hang on in there. One corner to go. Lee Allen is going to come out on top of a tremendous mini challenge race. Lee Allen wins, but only just by 0.180 of a second. Lee Patterson takes second. Third goes to Martin Depper, and fourth across the line is Sam Osborne. Chris Smith will take fifth. Shane Stoney finishes in sixth place. Lee Allen really deserved that. He was under massive pressure. To be fair, Lee Patterson would have been a deserving winner, as would Martin Depper, because they all raced so well. Cracking race.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Just nobody really touched each other, really. It was just a really nice, clean, fought battle as well.
It can be done, you see, can't it?
Depper did a fantastic job of keeping everyone at bay, and that just kept the first 4 or 5 laps really exciting from our point of view, and the viewers here and at home. And there you can see there Alan doing the lap of honour, waving around, getting a nice bit of cool, well-earned cool air into that car, because these cars, saloon cars, get very, very hot.
And there's the man that won the club class. Slightly easier time of it this time around, Henry Gilbert. John O'Brown was second, but the gap between them in the end, 8 seconds, in fact, between those two cars. So there is Lee Allen, who celebrates a victory, and as I say, really deserved that. It was a very, very hard race, and even though he had to work incredibly hard to hit the front, he wasn't able to pull away. And so, having had one victory already this year, backs that up now, and it's going to help him, of course, in the season-long championship contest. And no doubt the Allen family are going to be in good voice when they make their way down past them at Camp Corner. Lee Allen the winner from Lee Patterson, 0.180 of a second between them. Martin Depper third, 3 tenths back. Sam Osborne 3 seconds back, distant in fourth. Fifth, Chris Smith, and Shane Stoney, winner of race 1, 6th after his trip across the grass at the S's.